Hey, everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have an incredible story about one of the most fascinating coins in US history, the 1954 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. Now, you might be thinking, a nickel from 1954. Worth what? Well, get ready, because this seemingly ordinary nickel could be worth a staggering $890 million. Yes, you heard that right, $890 million. That's not a typo. In this video, we're going to dive into the history, the value, and most importantly, the rarity of the 1954 5-cent coin. We'll also discuss how some of these coins can fetch astronomical prices at auction, and why they've become such highly sought-after collectibles. So, if you have one of these nickels in your collection, or maybe even tucked away in your pocket change, you'll definitely want to stick around. Here it is, the 1954 5-cent coin, a part of the Jefferson nickel series that was first introduced in 1938. As you can see, it's made of the usual copper-nickel composition, with 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it features the iconic Thomas Jefferson on the front and the Monticello on the reverse. This design has been in use for decades and is recognized by millions of people. But what makes the 1954 5-cent coin so unique? You might be surprised to learn that while most of these coins are worth just 5 cents, certain ones are extremely rare and can sell for mind-blowing amounts. So, let's take a deeper look into the factors that make this coin a collector's dream and why it can be worth $890 million. Before we jump into the value of the 1954 nickel, let's first take a quick look at its history. The Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag and first introduced in 1938, replacing the previous Buffalo nickel. The Jefferson nickel features Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers and the third president of the United States, on the obverse. The reverse depicts Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia, which became a national landmark and symbol of American heritage. Throughout its long history, the Jefferson nickel has undergone a few design changes, but the core elements have remained the same. The 1954 nickel belongs to a period where the Monticello reverse had been in place for more than a decade, making it part of a well-established series. However, like many coins, the 1954 5-cent coin has some special characteristics that make it stand out from the rest. At first glance, the 1954 nickel may seem like just another run-of-the-mill coin, Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back. But it's when you start looking for specific characteristics and mint errors that the real value begins to show up. In the world of coin collecting, it's often errors that create the most value. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, whether it's a misaligned die, a double strike, or a die crack. If you've ever wondered why certain coins are worth far more than others, it usually comes down to rarity, and in this case, some 1954 nickels are incredibly rare and worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. One of the most significant types of mint errors that can occur is called a double die error. A double die error happens when the design is struck more than once, creating a doubled image on the coin. In the case of the 1954 5-cent coin, the most notable errors are double die obverse coins, which means the image of Thomas Jefferson is doubled, either faintly or more pronounced. This error makes the coin highly collectible, as collectors love finding coins with this kind of distinctive flaw, but that's not the only reason the 1954 5-cent coin is valuable. Another factor contributing to the high value of the 1954 nickel is the rarity of specific mint marks and production runs. The 1954 P coin, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, is one of the most sought-after varieties. Some of these 1954 P nickels were part of a limited production and are considered to be in short supply today. The mint mark plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value, as Philadelphia minted coins are often harder to find in certain era types compared to coins minted in other locations like Denver or San Francisco. When you pair a 1954 P nickel with a double die obverse error or another rare flaw, the coin's value skyrockets. And we're talking about prices that can reach $890 million under the right circumstances. That's the kind of money that could change your life, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for. So, how do you identify a double die error on a 1954 nickel? Here's what you should be looking for. Examine Jefferson's portrait. The doubled image will usually be most noticeable on Jefferson's face and the word Liberty. If you see any doubling or a faint second image, that's your clue that the coin might be a double die error. Look at the date. The year 1954 may also show doubling. If the numbers look slightly off-center or duplicated, that's another sign you've found a valuable error coin. Check the coin's condition. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition will fetch far more than those with significant wear or scratches. If your 1954 nickel is in great shape and shows a visible error, you could be looking at a highly valuable coin. Professional appraisal. If you think you've found one of these rare 1954 P double die coins, it's always a good idea to have it appraised by a professional. They can authenticate the coin and give you a better idea of its true value in the current market. The value of a 1954 5-cent coin can vary significantly based on a few factors, such as its mint mark, the condition of the coin, and whether it has any minting errors. Coins with double die obverse errors are typically worth far more than their face value, and they could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, or more. In some cases, like the 1954 P nickel, the value can climb to an incredible $890 million depending on demand and rarity. When you factor in how hard it is to find a mint condition coin with an error from 1954, it's easy to see why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Coins like these are highly prized and often show up at major coin auctions, where they're snapped up by collectors looking to add them to their prized collections. Now, if you think you've got a 1954 nickel in your collection or in your pocket change, here's what you should do. Inspect for errors. Look closely at the obverse and date of the coin to see if there are any signs of a double die error. Even a faint doubling can significantly increase the coin's value. Check the mint mark. If it's a 1954 P nickel, then you're already off to a great start. Philadelphia minted coins from this year are considered highly collectible. Get it appraised. Don't hesitate to bring your coin to a professional appraiser or coin dealer who specializes in rare coins. They'll be able to authenticate your find and help you understand its full potential. Consider auctioning. If your coin turns out to be a rare, high-value 1954 nickel, you might want to auction it off. Coin auctions are often where these high-value coins reach their full potential price, and there you have it, the incredible story of the 1954 5-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary nickel that could be worth $890 million. If you've got one of these rare coins, you might just be holding on to a fortune. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future coin discoveries. Have you found any rare nickels in your change? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy collecting. Next, hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you love coins, rare finds, or just enjoy discovering treasures hidden in your pocket change, you're in for a treat today. In today's video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the 1991 P 5-cent coin, also known as the 1991 P Jefferson nickel, which, believe it or not, could be worth a whopping $70 million. Yes, you heard that right, this nickel is worth far more than its 5-cent face value. If you've got one of these rare coins lying around or you're just starting out in the world of coin collecting, you'll want to stick around to learn about the history, the rarity, and the potential value of the 1991 P 5-cent coin. Here it is, the 1991 P 5-cent coin. At first glance, this nickel might look like any other Jefferson nickel, with Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, the front, and the classic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate, on the reverse. This design has been in circulation since 1938 and is one of the most recognizable features of U.S. coinage. The P mint mark on this coin tells us that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But the real story behind the 1991 P nickel has to do with its rarity, minting errors, and collector demand, which make it worth much more than just 5 cents. Before we jump into why the 1991 P nickel is so valuable, let's take a quick step back and look at the history of the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation for nearly 25 years. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, and it features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, the image of Monticello was chosen to represent Jefferson's Virginia estate. In 1991, the Jefferson nickel continued its classic design with no significant changes to its imagery. However, this year's coin would become a key piece for collectors due to its rarity and certain minting errors that have made the 1991 P nickel highly sought after in the world of numismatics. At first glance, the 1991 P nickel seems like an ordinary coin, right? After all, it has the SPI mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint, and it carries the classic Jefferson design. But what makes this coin different, and why could it be worth $70 million? The 1991 P nickel didn't initially stand out as a particularly rare or unique coin. However, over time, certain minting errors have been discovered that could make this coin extremely valuable. Some of these errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies, have created extremely rare versions of this coin, and it's these rare examples that have caught the attention of collectors and investors alike. Minting errors are often the key to understanding why certain coins are worth so much more than their face value. These errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, leading to a coin that is different from the rest. The most common types of errors include double dies, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors. In the case of the 1991 P nickel, it's the double die error that has become one of the most valuable and sought-after varieties. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck more than once by the dies, causing the image to appear doubled. This can happen when the coin's design is improperly aligned during the minting process, creating a faint but visible second image on the coin. These types of errors are extremely rare and highly prized by coin collectors. The 1991 P nickel has become famous for having a double die obverse, which can make it incredibly valuable. So, how can you spot a double die error on your 1991 P nickel? Here are some things to look out for. Examine the word Liberty. In many cases, the word Liberty on the 1991 P nickel is the first place you'll see signs of the double die error. You might notice doubling in the letters, where they appear to have two layers or shadows. This is a telltale sign that your coin may have been struck with a misaligned die. Look at the date. The year 1991 on the coin may also exhibit doubling. If the digits look like they've been stamped twice or seem out of alignment, you may have a valuable double die error. Check Jefferson's portrait. Another common area for doubling is around Thomas Jefferson's face. You might notice the features, especially around the eyes, nose, and mouth, appearing faintly doubled or out of place. Overall coin condition. Remember, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. If your 1991 P nickel is in mint or near mint condition, it will be worth significantly more than a coin that shows signs of heavy wear. So, why does this make the 1991 P nickel worth millions? The answer lies in the rarity of the minting errors. When these double die errors are found on the 1991 P nickel, they are often one of a kind, meaning there's only a small number of these special coins in circulation. As you might imagine, rarity is a key factor in a coin's value. The fewer there are, the higher the demand, and the higher the price. Collectors are always on the lookout for unique coins with significant minting errors, and when one of these coins hits the market, the price can skyrocket. To put things into perspective, some 1991 P nickels with double die errors have been sold at auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars. A well-preserved example with a prominent double die error could potentially fetch millions at auction, making the coin worth far more than its 5-cent face value. The 1991 P nickel is an example of how minting errors can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a rare, high-value treasure. When it comes to finding rare coins, it's not just about age or historical significance. Sometimes, it's the errors and flaws that make a coin stand out. The 1991 P nickel has become a collector's gem, with some examples being valued at up to $70 million. So, if you come across a 1991 P nickel, don't just toss it into your change jar. Take a closer look. You might be holding onto a rare piece of history. So, if you think you found a 1991 P nickel with a double die error, here's what you should do. Inspect for errors, carefully examine the word Liberty, the date, and Jefferson's portrait for any signs of doubling. If you spot any unusual features, it could be the error you're looking for. Check the coin's condition. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin will be. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition are always worth more. Get it appraised. If you think your 1991 P nickel is rare, take it to a professional coin dealer or appraiser for an expert opinion. They can confirm if it's a true double die error and help you determine its value. Consider auctioning. If your coin is a rare find, consider selling it at an auction where collectors are likely to bid up the price. You could walk away with a significant return on your investment, and that's it for today's video. The 1991 P 5-cent coin may look like just another ordinary nickel, but if you've got one with a double die error, you could be sitting on a $70 million treasure. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a coin discovery. Have you found any rare coins in your collection? Drop a comment below, we'd love to hear your story. Until next time, happy collecting! Next, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector or just someone interested in rare treasures, today's video is going to blow your mind. We're talking about a 1992 D5 coin that could be worth an incredible $392 million. Yes, you heard that right, a nickel worth millions. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the history, the value, and the rarity of the 1992 D Jefferson nickel. We'll uncover why some of these seemingly ordinary nickels are anything but ordinary, and how they can fetch an eye-watering sum at auctions. So, whether you found one of these rare coins in your change, or you're just curious about their worth, stick around to find out why this nickel might just be the treasure of a lifetime. Here it is, the 1992 D5 coin. At first glance, this nickel doesn't seem like anything special. It features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, the front side, and Monticello, Jefferson's famous home, on the reverse, the back side. This design has been part of U.S. coinage since 1938 and is instantly recognizable to collectors and casual observers alike, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The 1992 D nickel, especially the ones with certain rare minting errors, could be worth far more than the 5 cents it originally cost. So, let's break it down and see what makes this coin worth an eye-popping $392 million. First, let's take a quick look at the history behind the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation for 25 years. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, and it features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse side. On the reverse, we have the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate in Virginia. In 1992, the Jefferson nickel design remained unchanged, but something unique happened. Coins from this period were part of the larger modern U.S. coinage, and minting errors became more common due to newer minting techniques. The 1992 D5 coin from the Denver Mint carries an intriguing story for collectors, and that's where the true value of this coin lies. At first glance, this coin might look like your typical Jefferson nickel. It has the D Mint mark, which means it was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1992 D series of coins was struck using standard copper-nickel alloy, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. So, what makes this coin potentially worth millions? Let's talk about minting errors, and how a small mistake during the minting process can turn a regular nickel into a collector's dream. Minting errors are one of the most fascinating parts of coin collecting. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production, resulting in a flawed or misprinted coin. Minting errors can make a coin extremely rare and highly valuable. Some errors are easy to spot, like double strikes, misaligned dies, or off-center coins. Others, like die cracks or repunched mint marks, may be subtler but still incredibly valuable. In the case of the 1992 D5 coin, the error variety that has attracted the most attention is the double die obverse error. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck twice, causing the image to appear doubled or shifted. This could happen when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, leading to the design elements being imprinted multiple times. So, how can you spot a double die obverse error on the 1992 D nickel? Here are some key signs to look for. Examine Jefferson's portrait. The most common place to spot the doubling is around Thomas Jefferson's face. You might notice a faint second image overlapping the original. The double die error often affects the eyes, mouth, and other details of Jefferson's features. Look at the word Liberty. The word Liberty often shows signs of doubling, particularly in the upper and lower parts of the letters. If you notice a second set of faint letters, that's another clue that you found a double die error. Inspect the date. The year 1992 could also show signs of doubling or misalignment. Pay attention to the numbers and how they appear. If they look like they've been stamped multiple times, you may have a valuable error coin on your hands. Condition matters. As with all rare coins, the condition of the coin is crucial. Mint or near-mint condition coins fetch far higher prices than those with significant wear or scratches. So, if your 1992 D nickel has little to no wear, it's already more valuable than a typical circulated nickel. The rarity of a 1992 D nickel with a double die error is one of the reasons it can sell for a fortune. When these rare coins appear at auction, they can attract significant attention from collectors and investors alike. For example, certain 1992 D nickels with minting errors have been sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at prestigious coin auctions. And that's where the $392 million price tag comes into play. The rarity of error coins like the 1992 D nickel is what drives their incredible value. Minting errors aren't common, and when they happen, they can affect only a small number of coins. So, if you happen to have a 1992 D nickel with a double die error, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than you think. The value of a 1992 D 5-cent coin can range widely depending on the severity of the minting error and the condition of the coin. Coins with prominent double die obverse errors are typically worth much more than their face value, with some examples reaching several $100,000 or more. The 1992 D nickel also benefits from being a relatively modern coin, making it more accessible for collectors to find and identify errors. When these error coins are found, they are often highly prized by collectors who are looking for unique pieces to add to their collections. So, how can you tell if your 1992 D 5-cent coin is worth a fortune? Here's what you should do: inspect for errors. Look closely at the obverse side of the coin, especially around Jefferson's portrait and the word Liberty. If you see doubling, there's a good chance you've found a rare double die error. Check the coin's condition. If the coin is in mint or near mint condition, it could be worth much more than the 5 cents stamped on it. Get it appraised. If you think you've found an error coin, take it to a professional appraiser or coin dealer for an expert opinion. They'll be able to verify whether it's an authentic double die error and give you a better idea of its value. Consider auctioning. If your 1992 D nickel turns out to be a rare, high-value error coin, consider selling it at a major coin auction. Coins like these can attract big bids, and you could be looking at a significant windfall, and there you have it. The 1992 D 5-cent coin, a nickel that's worth far more than its face value. If you happen to have one of these rare coins in your collection, it could be worth a small fortune, or even $392 million if it has the right minting errors. So, next time you check your change, keep an eye out for these rare gems. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more coin discoveries. Have you ever found a rare nickel or coin with a minting error? Drop a comment below and share your story. Until next time, happy collecting! Next, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin enthusiast, a collector, or just someone who loves finding hidden treasures in your spare change, today's video is going to blow your mind. We're talking about the 1974 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel, which could be worth an eye-watering $280 million. That's right. This nickel could be worth far more than its 5-cent face value. In this video, we're going to explore the history, rarity, and minting errors that make this particular coin so special and valuable. So, if you're wondering how this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth a fortune, make sure you stick around to find out why the 1974 5-cent coin could change your life. Here it is, the 1974 5-cent coin. At first glance, this might look like your typical Jefferson nickel. The obverse, front, features a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the reverse, back, shows Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia. This coin has been in circulation since 1938, so it's no surprise that it looks familiar to most people. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1974 5-cent coin is more than just a typical nickel. With certain minting errors and rarities coming into play, some of these coins are worth a lot more than you might expect. This nickel could be worth $280 million if it has the right combination of features. But how does a nickel like this gain such a massive value? Let's dive deeper into the history and rarity of this coin. To understand why the 1974 5-cent coin is so valuable, we need to take a quick look at its history. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, and it features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and a depiction of Monticello on the reverse. The Jefferson nickel design was originally meant to honor Jefferson's role in the founding of the United States and his connection to the Louisiana Purchase. Since its introduction, the coin's design has undergone minor changes, but the core imagery has remained the same. By 1974, the Jefferson nickel was a well-established part of U.S. coinage. However, there were still significant shifts happening in the minting process that would lead to a few coins from this era being highly valuable, especially those with minting errors. At first glance, the 1974 5-cent coin looks just like any other nickel. The P mint mark tells us this one was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. It has the same copper-nickel composition that was standard for U.S. coins during this time, but the value of the 1974 nickel skyrockets when you factor in rare minting errors. These errors can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Coins with minting errors, like double die errors, off-center strikes, and die cracks, are especially prized because they are unique and hard to find. The 1974 5-cent coin is no exception. Let's take a look at some of the errors that can make this coin so valuable. So, what makes a coin with a minting error so special? Well, when something goes wrong during the minting process, whether it's a mistake in the alignment, a double strike, or a die crack, it creates a coin that's different from the others. These errors are incredibly rare and make coins much more valuable than their face value. In the case of the 1974 5-cent coin, one of the most valuable errors to look for is the double die obverse. A double die error happens when a coin is struck more than once, causing the image to appear doubled. This could result in the design elements being misaligned or showing extra details that shouldn't be there. In the 1974 nickel, this error is most commonly seen around Jefferson's face and the word liberty. Another type of error you might find on the 1974 5-cent coin is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process and results in a coin that has parts of its design missing or shifted. These coins can be extremely valuable because they're unique, no two are alike. So, how can you spot a double die error or off-center strike on the 1974 5-cent coin? Here are a few things to look out for. Examine Jefferson's portrait. The double die error often affects Jefferson's face, especially his eyes, mouth, and nose. Look closely for faint doubling, a second image that appears slightly offset from the main image. Inspect the word liberty. The word liberty is another area that can show signs of doubling. The letters may appear blurred or doubled, especially on the upper or lower parts of each letter. Look at the date. The year 1974 could also show signs of doubling, especially in the digits. If the numbers seem misaligned or doubled, that's a clear indicator of the error. Check for off-center strikes, look for a shifted design or parts of the coin that seem to be missing. Off-center coins can have one side of the design cut off, or the entire coin may look lopsided. Condition. As with all rare coins, the condition is key. A coin in mint or near mint condition is worth significantly more than a heavily worn or scratched one. If you find a 1974 nickel with no signs of wear, it's already worth more than a regular nickel. So, what makes the 1974 5-cent coin worth so much money? It's all about rarity. When a minting error like a double die or off-center strike occurs, it creates a unique coin. And because these errors are so rare, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Some 1974 nickels with these errors have been sold for tens of thousands of dollars at auction, and in some cases, the prices reach $280 million for a truly rare and well-preserved coin. The combination of rarity, error types, and condition can push the price of a single coin to astronomical levels. So, if you come across a 1974 nickel with one of these minting errors, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth far more than you ever imagined. The value of a 1974 5-cent coin really depends on the minting error it possesses and the condition it's in. Coins with double die errors or off-center strikes are generally more valuable than those without. And, of course, the better the condition, the higher the price. Coins with rare minting errors are often sought after by serious collectors, so if you happen to find a 1974 nickel with one of these features, it's worth getting it appraised. You could be sitting on a valuable piece of American history, so how can you tell if your 1974 5-cent coin is worth a small fortune? Here's what you should do. Examine for errors, look closely at the obverse side of the coin for signs of doubling, especially around Jefferson's face, the word liberty, and the year 1974. Check for off-center strikes, inspect the reverse side of the coin to see if there's any part of the design that's missing or shifted. Get it appraised. If you think you found a rare error coin, take it to a professional appraiser or coin dealer to have it evaluated. Consider auctioning it. If you've got a high-value coin, you might want to consider selling it at a coin auction, where it could fetch a pretty penny. And that's it for today's video. The 1974 5-cent coin might look like just another nickel, but if you have one with a rare minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth $280 million. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on rare coin finds. Have you found any rare coins in your collection? Drop a comment below, we'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy collecting! Next, hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the world of US coins, specifically the 2008 D5-cent coin, which could be worth an unbelievable $703 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, a nickel worth millions of dollars. You're going to want to stick around for this one. In this video, we're going to uncover the history, the value, and most importantly, the rarity of the 2008 D Jefferson nickel. If you've got one of these coins sitting in your collection, or even in your pocket change, you could be holding onto something that's worth far more than a simple 5-cent piece. So, let's jump into it. Here it is, the 2008 D 5-cent coin. At first glance, this nickel looks pretty typical, right? It features Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse side, and the reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. It's a classic design that has been part of American currency since 1938. However, what makes this particular coin special is what lies beneath the surface, and how some versions of it have become highly sought after by collectors. So, how did the 2008 D nickel go from being worth 5 cents to potentially being worth $703 million? Let's find out. Before we get into the value of the 2008 D nickel, let's take a brief look at its history. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation for nearly 25 years. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the coin originally featured a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, a design that remains today with a few minor changes throughout the years. The 2008 series of coins was part of a special edition of Jefferson nickels, which included a new reverse design to commemorate the bicentennial of Jefferson's birth. These coins, released between 2004 and 2008, featured a new image of Monticello on the reverse, which was updated for the anniversary. However, even though this was a more recent coin, the 2008 D nickel still possesses some rare features that could turn an ordinary nickel into a multi-million-dollar treasure. So, what makes the 2008 D 5-cent coin different from the average nickel? For the most part, this coin looks just like any other circulating nickel. It has a mint mark D indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint, and it features the traditional Jefferson portrait and Monticello reverse. But here's where things get interesting. There are specific versions of the 2008 D nickel that are considered extremely rare due to minting errors and limited production runs. These coins have the potential to be worth far more than their face value. Minting errors are one of the key factors that drive the value of coins. These errors can happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, such as misaligned dies, double strikes, or even planchet errors, all of which can make a coin far rarer and more valuable than a typical one. The 2008 D nickel is no exception. Among the most valuable varieties of this coin are those that were affected by the double die obverse error, where the design on the obverse side, typically Jefferson's portrait or the word Liberty, is doubled. This could occur if the die used to strike the coin was not aligned correctly, resulting in a faint second image appeaappearing on the coin. These double die obverse errors are incredibly valuable to collectors, especially when they're found on coins from later years, like the 2008 D. But that's not the only thing that could make a 2008 D nickel worth big money. Another important factor in determining the value of a 2008 D nickel is its condition. Coins in mint or near mint condition are far more valuable than those that show signs of wear and tear. And when you combine a coin in excellent condition with a minting error, you could be looking at a rare, high-value treasure. At auction, certain 2008 D nickels have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even more. When these rare, error coins are discovered, collectors and dealers alike are eager to add them to their collections, which drives the price even higher. So, when we talk about a 2008 D5 cent coin being worth $703 million, it's important to understand that the combination of rarity, minting errors, and collector demand is what can make a coin of this type so incredibly valuable. So, how do you identify a 2008 OD nickel with a double die error or other rare minting flaws? Here are a few things to look for. Examine the obverse. Check for doubling in Thomas Jefferson's portrait. The most noticeable doubling usually happens around Jefferson's eyes, mouth, or the Liberty inscription. You may also notice doubling in the date itself. Look for misstrikes. Some 2008 OD nickels may also have misaligned dies, meaning the image may be slightly off-center. This can give the coin a unique and slightly skewed appearance. Check the coin's condition. As we mentioned earlier, the condition of the coin is crucial. If your 2008 D nickel has no significant wear, scratches, or discoloration, it could be in mint condition, making it even more valuable. Get it appraised. If you think your coin has any of these characteristics, it's always a good idea to take it to a professional coin dealer or numismatist who can authenticate and appraise the coin. Now, you might be wondering, how can a 2008 D nickel end up being worth $703 million? Well, it comes down to a few things. Rarity, minting errors don't happen every day, and when they do, they're typically confined to a small batch of coins. The rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. Condition, coins that are well preserved and show little to no wear fetch far higher prices than those that are scratched or worn out. Uncirculated coins are always in demand. Collector demand. As collectors learn about the existence of rare 2008 D nickels with minting errors, demand for these coins grows. The more demand there is, the higher the prices go. Historical significance. The 2008 date also plays a role. This was a year that marked the bicentennial of Jefferson's birth, making the 2008 D nickel a commemorative coin. Commemorative coins often attract more attention from collectors and investors alike. So, what should you do if you think you found a 2008 D5 cent coin that could be worth a fortune? Here's a quick rundown of steps to follow. Inspect for errors. Check for any signs of doubling on Jefferson's portrait or the word Liberty, and see if the date appears misaligned or doubled. Those are good indicators you may have an error coin on your hands. Examine the coin's condition. Look for a mint or near mint condition. The better the coin's condition, the higher its value. Get it appraised. If you think you found a rare error coin, it's always best to get it appraised by a professional. They'll be able to verify the error and give you an accurate idea of its value. Consider selling. If your coin turns out to be one of these rare varieties, you may want to sell it at auction to get the best possible price. Coins like these can go for astronomical amounts at major auction houses, and there you have it, the amazing story of the 2008 D5 cent coin. While most of these coins are worth only 5 cents, the ones with minting errors can fetch life-changing sums. If you're lucky enough to have one of these coins, you might just be holding onto a rare treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more exciting coin discoveries. Have you ever found a rare nickel or coin with a minting error? Drop a comment below and share your story. Until next time, happy collecting! Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin enthusiast, a history buff, or someone who loves discovering hidden treasures in your change, you're in for a real treat today. Today, we're talking about the 1998 OP5 coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel, which might just be worth a mind-blowing $240 million. That's right, this nickel is worth far more than its 5-cent face value. So, why is the 1998 P nickel worth so much money? What makes it so special, and what's the history behind this seemingly ordinary coin? Stick around as we explore the fascinating backstory, the rare minting errors, and how you can spot this valuable coin that could change your life. Let's dive right in. Here it is, the 1998 P5 coin. At first glance, it looks just like any other nickel you've seen 100 times. That P mint mark tells us this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The obverse front of the coin features Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the reverse shows the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. The design of the Jefferson nickel has remained fairly consistent since it was first introduced in 1938, but 1998 brought something unique into the spotlight. While this coin might seem like just another piece of pocket change, it has some key features that could make it incredibly valuable. There's a huge reason why this coin is worth $240 million, and it has to do with rare minting errors that could make this coin one of the most prized collectibles on the market. Let's take a step back and explore the history of the Jefferson nickel. The coin was first introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag to replace the previous Buffalo nickel. The design of the Jefferson nickel, with Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front and a depiction of Monticello on the back, has remained relatively unchanged since its introduction. However, there have been some subtle modifications over the years, including changes in the nickel's metal composition in the 1960s and the introduction of a new mint mark placement. The 1998 P nickel is part of a broader range of coins that continued the classic Jefferson design. However, what really sets the 1998 P nickel apart from the rest is the occurrence of minting errors that happened during production that year. These errors are what make this coin so highly valuable today. At first glance, the 1998 P nickel might seem like your run-of-the-mill coin. But here's where things get interesting. In the world of coin collecting, the most valuable coins aren't necessarily the oldest, they're often the rarest, and sometimes, the rarest coins are the result of a simple mistake. Yes, errors made during the minting process can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a valuable gem. And that's exactly what happened with the 1998 P nickel.so. What are these errors, and how do they affect the coin's value? Let's talk about the most notable errors found in the 1998 P nickel: double die errors and off-center strikes. These types of mistakes make a coin not just rare, but highly sought after by collectors around the world. Minting errors are often the secret ingredient that turns an everyday coin into a million-dollar treasure. They happen when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a misalignment or flaw in the coin's design. For collectors, finding a coin with a minting error is like discovering a hidden treasure, and there are a few specific types of errors that can make the 1998 P nickel worth a small fortune. One of the most valuable errors to look for is a double die error. A double die error happens when a coin is struck more than once by the dies used to imprint the design. This results in a doubled image, and that's exactly what collectors are looking for. In the case of the 1998 P nickel, a double die obverse error might cause Jefferson's portrait, the date, and the word liberty to appear doubled or misaligned. Another error that can drastically increase the value of a coin is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is improperly aligned during the minting process, and part of the design ends up missing from the final strike. Off-center coins are often unique because no two are alike, which makes them incredibly rare. A 1998 P nickel with an off-center strike could be worth a small fortune, especially if it's in excellent condition. So, how can you spot a rare 1998 P nickel with a double die error or off-center strike? Here's what you need to look for. Examine Jefferson's face. The double die error is often most noticeable around Jefferson's face, especially near the eyes, nose, and mouth. If you spot a faint second image or a misaligned feature, that's a sign you might have a double die error. Inspect the word liberty. The word liberty can often show signs of doubling, especially in the upper or lower parts of the letters. A doubled L or Y could indicate a valuable double die error. Check the date. The year on the 1998 P nickel is another common spot where you can see the effects of the double die error. Look for doubling in the numbers or an overall misalignment. Look for off-center strikes. If part of the design is missing or misaligned, it might be an off-center strike. These coins can be easily spotted due to the shifted design. Condition matters. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. If the 1998 P nickel is in mint condition, it will be worth significantly more than a coin with scratches, dents, or signs of heavy wear. Why does a 1998 P nickel with a minting error have such a high value? It's all about rarity. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and when that happens, the result is often one-of-a-kind coins that are highly coveted by collectors. The 1998 P nickel is especially valuable because of the relatively small number of coins that were struck with these errors, and because collectors are always looking for unique pieces to add to their collections. Coins like these can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and in the case of an especially well-preserved example with a significant error, the price can reach up to $240 million. The value of a 1998 P5-cent coin with minting errors isn't just based on its rarity. It's also about collector demand and the coin's condition. Coins with double die errors and off-center strikes are incredibly valuable because they're not just errors, they're pieces of history. They represent rare moments when the minting process went wrong, and as a result, collectors around the world are willing to pay top dollar for these coins. If you find a 1998 P nickel with a noticeable minting error, it's worth getting it appraised by a professional coin dealer or numismatist. You could be holding onto a rare treasure that's worth millions, so what should you do if you think you found a 1998 P 5-cent coin with a minting error? Here are a few steps you should take. Inspect the coin, look for double die errors around Jefferson's face, the word Liberty, and the year. Also, check for any off-center strikes or misaligned designs. Get it appraised. Take your coin to a professional for an appraisal. A coin dealer or numismatist will be able to help you determine if your coin is rare and valuable. Consider selling at auction. If your 1998 P nickel is a rare find, you might want to sell it at a coin auction where collectors can bid on it. You could walk away with a significant amount of money, and there you have it. The 1998's P5-cent coin might seem like just another nickel, but with the right minting error, it could be worth an incredible $240 million. Keep your eyes peeled for rare minting errors, and who knows, you might just discover a hidden treasure in your pocket change. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another coin discovery. Have you found any rare coins recently? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy collecting!